In a world where the powers of the dormant demon lord created dungeons all around the world, and adventure parties live stream their dungeon runs, Yuke is a mage and a member of a rank party named Thunderpike. All their members are strong, and they easily clear all the dungeons they enter. However, not everything is well with their teamwork once they are outside of the dungeon. Yuke feels like he is not being paid fairly for his work, and after a successful mission, he tells his party members that he is going to quit Thunderpike. The party leader Simon and the other members tell him to stop being such a whiny because he doesn't even join the fight and just stays in the rear, burning through their items and scrolls. They claim that they will be fine without his little support, and that is the final nail in the coffin. Yuke finishes his drink and then declares that he is going to quit the party forever, and they can go and shove their rank tag up their butt. The next day, Yuke goes to the Adventurer Guild to register himself as unemployed. Just as he finishes filling the form and hands it to the receptionist, a redhead hoe suddenly lunges at him and hugs him tightly. She calls him teacher, and when Yuke sees her, he recognizes her as Marina, a sword mage whom he guided before she took her adventure test. Marina thanks Yuke for helping her earlier, and he asks how things are going for her. She tells him that everything is going well, and then learns that he is on the job market right now. Marina gets really excited on hearing that, and this thirsty bitch immediately asks Yuke to join their party. Yuke goes to meet with her party members, who were also his students along with Marina. The Elf Ranger Silk and the Priestess Rain are both glad to hear that Yuke is interested in joining their party, but they ask him if he is fine joining a D-rank party that is just starting its career. Yuke tells them that he is fine with that because hustling like a rank parties is not for him anymore. He says that for difficult quests and dungeons, he used to invest a lot of money in consumable items, so he didn't earn much. But with D-rank quests, he will be able to save a ton. With that, Yuke officially joins their party, and learns that the girls were planning to complete a quest to mine some magic iron ore today. They head to the dungeon to mine the magic ore, and Yuke feels nostalgic remembering how his journey began. He tells the girls that they can easily find the magic ore on the 6th floor of the dungeon, but they tell him that they are afraid of fighting the boss monster on the 5th floor, so they'll pass. Yuke suggests they can try looking for the ore on the 4th floor first, and they head into the dungeon. Marina has brought her grandpa's walking stick along to search for traps, but that is slowing down their pace, so Yuke decides to take the lead. He shows the girls a magic lantern that can easily detect any low-level traps, and because of that, they quickly explore the dungeon. Yuke begins recalling how this was the first dungeon he visited along with his former party Thunderpike 5 years ago, and their warrior was seriously wounded by the traps. Suddenly, he senses a monster and tells the girls to get ready to fight. They reach a room where wolf monkeys are waiting for them. Silk shoots down one of them quickly, and then Marina rushes ahead to deal with the other two. Yuke casts physical enchantment magic on her to greatly improve her abilities, and then snares the monsters to stop them. Marina easily cuts through the two monsters, and she is shocked to realize how easy it was with Yuke's magic. He tells her that he cast 3 types of enchantment spells on her at once, and everyone is impressed because doing 3 spells at once needs a lot of skill. Soon, they reach the entrance of the 2nd floor, and after checking their equipment and stamina, they head downstairs. Suddenly, a group of zombie miners attack them, and it is Rain's turn to deal with them. Silk and Marina try to fight against the zombies to buy time for her to finish her incantation, and Yuke casts a protective spell on everyone so that the zombies can't even come close. This gives Rain enough time to complete her spell, and she blows away all the zombies with her holy magic. Everyone starts praising her, and Yuke remarks that using holy magic on such a scale costs a lot of mana. He uses a skill called Refresh Mana on Rain to charge up her mana reserves, and she is astonished to learn that Yuke can use it. She tells her friends that it is a rare spell that only red mages like Yuke can use, and with just this spell, one can instantly be admitted to an A-rank party. They are all amazed, and Yuke tries acting down to earth by saying that he is nothing special. They walk ahead, and he keeps pouring holy water on the ground so that the zombies don't attack them after being revived. Silk thinks that it is going to be really expensive, and they don't have the budget for that, but Yuke tells her to relax because he brewed it himself. This shocks Rain because Yuke is not even a priest, but he replies that he can use the purified ashes of the zombies to make holy water using alchemy. Soon, they reach the 4th floor, and Yuke says that they can find the magic ore on this floor. But before going any deeper, he wants everyone to rebuild their stamina by eating something. For that, he pulls out a whole ass stove from his magic bag, which makes the girls excited. Yuk tells them that if they work hard, they can afford their own magic bag someday. He begins cooking egg and bacon for them, and then pulls out a magic pot that magically creates seafood soup for them. The housewife inside Rain gets wetter than the soup itself on seeing a pot that cooks food itself, and Yuk says that he found it in a high-level dungeon and it cost a lot to be repaired. After that, they start eating, and Silk notices that the food has extra mana. Yuk tells her that cooking is basically alchemy, and he put extra effort to empower them for mining the ore later. Soon, they find a giant rock lizard which has mineral ores on its back. Yuk slows it down with his magic, and then Marina uses her ultimate attack to kill it. She is really exhausted by using her ultimate just once, but Yuk replenishes her mana and tells her to keep practicing the skill. After that, they begin mining the ore on the defeated monster's back, but they need more, and Yuk suggests that they go to the 5th floor and defeat the boss to get what they want. The girls are afraid because the boss is a tough monster, but Yuk tells them that he will use his full power to help them. Once they reach the boss room on the 5th floor, Yuk tells the girls that he will fight alone to show them his skills. He then takes out a floating camera artifact to record the gameplay of the boss fight, and Marina suggests that they should livestream it cause it will be fun. Yuk decides to YOLO it, but then he asks the girls the name of their party to tell in the broadcast. They nervously tell him that they haven't thought of a name yet, but then Marina comes up with the name Clover on the spot. She says that the 3 girls are the ordinary leaves of the clover, and Yuk is the 4th and the lucky leaf. Everyone likes the name, and then Yuk asks the girls if they also want to feature in the first live stream of their party. They are fine just watching him, so Yuk enchants himself and then activates the live streaming mode on the camera. After that, he opens the door to the boss room and heads inside to see the giant ugly steel crab. The crab attacks him instantly, but Yuk slips from its claws and then uses 5 disabling spells to blind, poison, and paralyze it. The crab tries to attack indiscriminately, but Yuk just uses gravity magic to crush it instantly. He ends the live stream with that, and Marina immediately hugs him, almost breaking his bones in the process. Yuk then puts the crab in his magic bag, and they open the treasure chest that dropped after defeating the boss to find a ton of treasure and magic ore. After that, Yuk and his party head back to the city in a carriage. He acts polite and asks the girls how do they rate their new party member on a scale of 1 to 10. All the girls are really impressed by his overall skills in the dungeon, but Yuk thinks that they would be uncomfortable to see someone who is older than them suddenly become a party member. The girls tell him that it is not like that at all, and suddenly, Silk has a brilliant idea. She tells Yuk that he should become the party leader because he is the most experienced and powerful out of them. Yuk is flustered because he doesn't think it is right for a newcomer to become the leader, but the other girls agree, saying that their party was officially formed when they decided to name it Clover, and that makes Yuk a founding member. When the girls keep on pressuring him, Yuk finally folds and agrees to become the party leader so that he can keep everyone safe. On the other hand, his former party, Thunder Pike, is having a hard time in the dungeon. They have got an archer to fill Yuk's place, but he can't support them like Yuk used to. They struggle against a pack of monster wolves, and even the newcomer throws shade at them, asking why the hell they came to such a high-level dungeon if they are so weak. Suddenly, the witch gets bitten by a wolf, and though the party leader manages to free her, the priestess doesn't have enough mana to heal her. The party decides to retreat immediately, and as the witch lies bleeding, the priestess is still waiting for her mana to recharge. They don't have mana potions or even healing potions because that used to be Yuk's responsibility, and none of them thought to pick it up after he left. The new guy has a healing potion, but he doesn't give it so easily because he expected a rank party to have better management. Meanwhile, Yuk and his party are celebrating their first mission's success. As they drink, Yuk tells them that the reward from the quest was nothing special, but he got a lot of money from selling the corpse of the steel crab. He asks the girls about the division of money among them, and Silk tells him that they put everything in the party fund and use an allowance system for buying necessary things. She explains that they are saving money to buy their own house one day, and Yuk likes the idea. At the same time, his former party is at the same inn, and they are griping and complaining about their failure today. They blame it all on the new guy, saying that he should have been prepared better to help them. The archer gets pissed off that they are treating him like an errand boy, and says that he never thought that the famous rank party would be a bunch of sisses who can't even wipe their ass themselves. He tells them that he is quitting their party immediately, and Yuk turns around just in time to see it. He doesn't want to give any attention to his former party, so he tells the girls that after every successful quest, they will take 2 days to rest and recover. He says that he will stock up the useful items in the meanwhile, and they can head to another mission on the 3rd day. Suddenly, the inn begins to display the livestream video of Yuk defeating the steel crab that has gone viral within half a day. Everyone is interested in Yuk and his party because he defeated a boss monster with just debuff spells. However, this pisses off his former party members who think that Yuk is playing in the lowest league to improve his KD ratio. Turns out they are not the only people jealous of Yuk, because a fat and ugly noble is also cursing him from afar. Anyway, 3 days later, Yuk reaches the guild to pick a quest that is easy enough for the girls, but gives a good reward as well, and the receptionist suggests him a C-rank quest to get magic stones from a waterfall. She says that it should be a D-rank quest, but some strange monsters are roaming around the region recently, so it has become more difficult. As Yuk is in the middle of thinking about it, the girls come running there, and they agree to take the quest without even asking about it. Only after the receptionist leaves to register the quest does Yuk get a chance to explain that they may have to face a monster during the quest. The girls still decide to take the quest to earn more points and money. Yuk tells them to get ready and meet him in 30 minutes, and then the receptionist comes with a receipt of the quest. She tells Yuk to livestream his quest fights because he has become a minor celebrity after his last livestream. He leaves the guild with that and immediately senses someone following him. He leads the stalker into a shady alley, and it turns out to be the jealous ugly noble. Yuk asks him if he has any business with him, and the noble pulls out his sword, telling him to leave Clover immediately. Yuk uses a snare spell on him discreetly, and then asks the fatty if he is out of his mind for telling the leader of the party to quit it. The fatty tells him that he found the girls first, and he will join their party to become their sugar daddy. But Yuk thinks that he is just a junkie who has had too much magic shrooms today. He refuses to leave the party and walks away, and as the noble tries to attack him, he trips on the snare spell and knocks himself out. Once Yuk joins the girls to go on the quest, they tell him that the fat incel had approached them a few days earlier, and he offered to join their party like he was helping them out. However, his skills were mid, and they decided to ignore him since he wasn't taking no for an answer. Yuk also thinks that the guy must be dumb if he can draw his sword so casually in the streets, and he decides to report him to the guild once they return. After that, Yuk brings up the topic of their quest, and says that while the quest is really simple, they may have to deal with some wild beast-type monster. The girls tell him that they have been to the area around 2 months ago, but they didn't face any monsters back then, and there were no ordinary animals around either. The second part worries Yuk, and he says that the only reason all animals run away from the forest is because of a strong monster. He tells the girls that the monster was present in the forest that time too, but they were lucky enough not to encounter it. He says that as soon as they reach the forest, he will start recording everything, and if they run into the monster, he will live stream it. It will be the best if they win, but if they lose and have to run away, he wants the video to be live so that the guild can see them and send help on time. Soon, they reach the forest and Yuk starts recording as they walk inside. He walks at the end of the group because wild beasts attack any group from behind, and tells the girls not to worry about him because he is wearing a special warlock armor that gives him very high defense stats. They reach the waterfall soon, but then Yuk senses something and immediately turns the live stream mode on. Just 1 second later, the monster terrorizing the forest comes out, and to Yuk's horror, it is a high-ranking monster called the Zarnag, which is found in the deepest level of high-ranking dungeons. Everyone panics on hearing that, and Yuk steps in front of the girls. He tells them that they need to escape immediately, because they will die if they fight against the Zarnag. He decides to stay back and stop it till the girls reach safety, and the guild sends backup. But suddenly, Marina draws her sword, telling Yuk that she isn't leaving him behind. Silk and Rain also agree with her, and they begin using their abilities to slow down the monster so that they can kill it. Yuk has no choice but to let them in on the action, so he first enchants their physical abilities. Marina rushes ahead to stop the monster while Rain chants her spell, but she gets slapped away. Yuk tries to stun the monster with lightning magic and then casts multiple debuffs on it, but despite that, it doesn't seem to slow down. Yuk realizes that it is a special monster, and he asks Marina to buy him some time so he can use a very powerful spell. Marina begins fighting against the monster, and then Silk calls the forest dryads for help and binds the monster with vines. As the two girls try their best to stall the monster, Yuke finishes chanting his tier 5 spell, Prismatic Arrow. He tells Marina to get back before he shoots it at the monster with devastating power. As the prismatic arrow hits the monster, it groans in pain, but nothing more happens. Yuke thinks that he failed to do any damage, but as the monster charges towards them, a black liquid starts coming out from all its holes. The monster seems weakened by his attack, but it is still strong enough to attack them, so Rain decides to finish it with a powerful magic attack. She uses the tier 5 spell Thunderbolt to hit the monster, but despite that, it doesn't go down. However, Yuke realizes that the monster has been stunned by the strong attacks it took, and this is the perfect chance to finish it off. He tells Marina to go ahead and kill the monster, and she dashes towards it, activating her ultimate skill just as Yuke enchants her sword to land a critical hit. The monster's head falls into the river as the sky clears, and it releases a fountain of blood. Everyone is relieved at this, and then Yuke remembers that he was live streaming this fight. He thanks all the viewers for watching the fight till the end, and then ends the stream. The video is an instant hit in the city, and the popularity of the Clover Party rises further. But the leader of Yuke's former party is pissed because of that. Meanwhile, Yuke is feeling dizzy after using too much mana in the fight earlier. Behind him, the girls are excitedly chatting about their fight, and Yuke thinks that this video will give their careers a huge boost. He approaches them, congratulating them for the successful mission, but adds that he is going to spank them for not listening to his orders earlier. The girls confront him, saying that they are going to lecture him too because he was planning to sacrifice himself just now, and they won't have allowed that to happen in any case. Yuke realizes that this is a 1 versus 3 match and he can't win against the girls, so he says that they will review the mistakes they made later. Soon, they reach the lake where they are supposed to complete their mission, but the girls get in the mood for a swim. Yuke tells them to take a dip in the time he sets up camp. As he hears the girls happily splashing around, he remembers how he was training them to be adventurers just 6 months ago. He kept telling them about the ways in which they could improve themselves and their party, but he always had the feeling that they would make a great team. He is still surprised by the fact that he ended up in the same party as them and thinks that life is too uncertain. A few days later, Yuke and the girls are summoned by the guild master, and the girls are anxious about the meeting. Yuke believes that the guild master wants to talk about the high-level monster they defeated in the forest, because a dangerous quest like that should not have been given to a D-rank party like them. He thinks that normally, any guild master would praise them, but he knows the old man in charge of this place is not normal. Just then, Guild Master Benwood arrives there, and he immediately confronts Yuke, telling him that he has really done something troublesome this time. Yuke tells him that it is not his fault, and Benwood sternly asks him to tell him the things that he didn't mention in the report. His tone scares the girls and Yuke lashes out at the old man for intimidating them. However, that was what the guild master was waiting for, and he tells Yuke that he should have stopped talking politely earlier if he wanted him to stop acting scary. Benwood then sits down and tells everyone to take a seat too. He asks Yuke to answer his question now, and tell him what he thinks about the monster that he encountered in the forest. Yuke tells him that the signs point to it being an overflow, but not the one you will find on Anime. Benwood grows concerned on hearing that and tells the receptionist to generate an investigation quest. Meanwhile, Marina asks Yuke about overflow, and he explains that it happens when a catalyst causes monsters to come out of dungeons. If things get worse, it can lead to a stampede in which a huge army of monsters destroy everything in their path. The girls are worried to hear that, but Benwood tells them that the guild will handle the investigation. He then bows down to the 4 of them and apologizes for putting them in danger. The girls are taken aback by that and say that they were fine because Yuke was with them. The old man says that he watched the stream and he thinks they are quite skilled too, which is why he is going to promote them to C rank. The girls are delighted to hear that, and then Benwood turns to Yuke to give him another good news. He is being promoted to a rank because the prismatic arrow spell he used during the fight is a new spell he created, and all the guild officers believe that he should be promoted. Yuke can't even process what is happening, but Benwood brings out the promotion documents and tells him to sign it. Later, Yuke and the girls go to the guild inn to celebrate their promotion. Yuke hands over the earnings from the mission to Silk, who finds that the amount is much more than she expected. She stacks the gold coins to count them, and at the bottom of the pouch, Benwood has left a platinum coin as an apology. The girls are excited to see the platinum coin, and then Silk says that after adding today's earnings, they have enough money to buy their own base. They begin drinking and eating to celebrate this special occasion, and then Rain asks Yuk about his dream as an adventurer. He tells her that he dreams of challenging the last floor of the dungeon named Infinite Darkness, and that makes the girls spit out their drinks because that dungeon is said to be ridiculously dangerous. Yuk says that it is true because the final floor of the dungeon holds the Abyss Gate that leads to the underworld. He says that he has no plan to cross the Abyss Gate, but he wants to see it with his own eyes. He tells the girls about his uncle who was a great adventurer, and he challenged the final floor of Infinite Darkness dungeon and saw the gate. Even though he could not clear the final floor, his stories inspired Yuk to try it someday. Marina likes the idea and tells Yuk that they should go to the dungeon soon and livestream their fight. But he tells her that it is not so easy. First, they need to be in a rank party, and on top of that, they need permission from the government to even enter the dungeon. The girls get fired up on listening this, and they promise Yuk that they will grow stronger so that one day they can challenge the dangerous dungeon together. Soon, the Clover party embarks on another mission, and they live stream their fights as always. While Marina fights on the front lines, Yuk guides her and protects everyone with magic barriers. Silk uses the vines to tie the monster down, and then Rain attacks it with a powerful lightning spell. To finish things off, Yuk uses a magic scroll to unleash a rock magic on the monster, killing it. The livestream is well received by the audience, but not by Yuk's former party, Thunderpike. They are jealous of Yuk's success, but more than that, they are concerned about their downfall. They blame it all on the new members who join their party, calling them useless. Moreover, the wizard of their party has been avoiding going out with them lately after she was injured, and she is starting to fall behind when they go on missions. They think that maybe they should get Yuk to join their party again, because when he was with them, they didn't fail their missions so miserably. They think that they should cut the payment of the wizard girl because she is becoming useless and give a bit more money to Yuk so that he doesn't have a problem returning to their party. Meanwhile, Yuk and the girls return to the city from their mission, and they are shocked to see Thunderpike's leader Simon waiting for them at the door. Yuk is taken aback to see him, and he tells the girls to go and report to the receptionist while he deals with this. The girls go inside quietly, and then Yuk asks Simon what the hell does he want. Simon invites him to talk over a drink, but Yuk refuses, saying that he is tired because of the quest. He begins walking inside, but Simon stops him, telling him to come back to Thunderpike. Marina and others are eagerly listening to this conversation from the other side of the door, and they get worried as Simon reminds Yuk about their long-lasting friendship and their dream of challenging the Abyss Gate together. He says that Yuk will need to be in a rank party to even try that, and that is why he should rejoin Thunderpike. However, Yuk slaps his hand away, telling him that he is the leader of Team Clover and he is not going to leave them. This pisses Simon off, and he tries gaslighting Yuk into taking the blame for Thunderpike's failure after he left. However, Yuk tells him to grow up and deal with his problems like an adult. He goes inside the guild building with Simon yelling that he will regret it, and this commotion draws the attention of the ugly Fatso who tried to attack Yuk in the past. Meanwhile, Simon finds the girls really anxious about the conversation, and when he assures them that he is not going to leave the party, Marina hugs him so hard that he feels his bones crack. He somehow manages to push her away, and then they go to have drinks together. Soon after that, they get a quest from a popular armor shop called Earthy's. Yuk tells them that the shop is launching a new theme focusing on women adventurers, and since their party is 75% women, they have decided to pick them as the poster girls. The 3 girls will get high-quality armor from the shop, and the shop can use the video of them clearing dungeons to promote itself. The girls are surprised to hear this good news, and they find that they will get the armor for free, and on top of that, they will also be paid for completing the quest. They get really excited on hearing this, and soon their party goes to the city where Earthy's shop is situated. While Yuk waits in the market, thinking about the time he came to this city with his previous party, the girls get their new gear. They soon come running to show their new drip to Yuk, and he starts his blood flowing down to his 3rd leg. He then tells them that instead of live streaming their fight, this time, they will have to hand over the recording to Earthy's as per the quest. He starts recording, and then his party enters the dungeon. Yuk tells the girls that this dungeon is only 4 floors deep, but its lowest floor has the gate to a bigger dungeon, and their quest goal is to reach the 2nd dungeon. They come to an open space inside the dungeon, and Yuk picks a stone and throws it down to show the girls that a distortion in space doesn't allow anyone to take shortcuts here. He asks them to be careful that they don't fall down the stairs. While Marina and Silk agree to him immediately, Rain seems to be upset with Yuk, and he doesn't even know what he did wrong. Marina and Silk tell him that he didn't pay enough attention to Rain earlier because she is flat like the earth, and Yuk immediately notices the new ribbon around her hair. He tells Rain that she looks cute because her ribbon matches her hair color, and this needy hoe gets flustered and immediately hugs him. With that, they get down to the next floor of the dungeon, and Yuk soon detects a trap using his magic lantern. He pokes the trap with his grandma's walking stick, and suddenly, spears pop out of all 4 walls. They pass through the gap between the spears and soon encounter the first monster of the dungeon. It is a group of orcs, and Silk furiously draws her bow because elves hate orcs like Christians hate gays. Yuk tells her to calm down because her anger can break their formation, but assures her that they will completely wipe out those ugly monsters. He assesses that the orcs look like low-level soldiers, but they look more organized than he expected. He tells Rain to charge up a powerful magic attack to hit all of them at once, and then tells the other 2 girls to get ready to finish the ones left at last. Yuk casts enchantment magic on everyone, and then Rain shoots a powerful fire attack at them, burning the orcs. Next, Yuk uses a magic scroll to crush them with heavy rocks, and Silk supports him by shooting the orcs. They manage to take down 2 of them, and the remaining 2 orcs rush towards them. Yuk uses paralysis debuff to slow them down, and then Marina charges ahead, using her ultimate move to defeat 1 orc. Silk shoots the other orc to keep it busy in the meantime, and then Marina attacks it too, splitting its head open with 1 strike. Yuk goes over to the dead orcs to collect their magic stones, and he asks Silk if she has calmed down now. She apologizes for getting tense on seeing the orcs, but Yuk understands that it is a part of her elf DNA. Silk is happy to hear this, and just then Marina comes there with a damaged scroll she found with one of the orcs. Yuk finds that it is an artifact that can reveal hidden abilities of an adventurer. He says that they can't use it right now because it is damaged, but he can repair it with his alchemy skills. He tells the girls that one of them can use it instead of selling it because it will enhance their talents and maybe even unlock a new job class. Both Silk and Rain tell him that he should let Marina use it since she has only 1 job class. As Marina is daydreaming about what job she will get, a treasure chest suddenly appears before them as a reward for defeating the orcs. Later, as they take a lunch break, they find that the treasure chest had a magic bag inside it, and everyone decides to give it to Rain because supporters like her need it more. After that, they head to the 4th floor of the dungeon, and Yuk tells the girls that the entrance to the 2nd dungeon used to be guarded by a boss monster, but it has been many years since one was last seen. The girls ask him more about the boss monster, and he tells them about the Shadow Stalker, a monster that appeared to be made from pure darkness. Marina spots something exactly like that in the distance and asks Yuk if he is talking about that, and he is stunned to see that there is a real Shadow Stalker in the dungeon. He focuses his camera on it because Shadow Stalkers are really rare to find. He thinks that the Shadow Stalker won't reach them quickly because no one can just jump down from a higher floor. But the boss monster decides to prove that he is built different. He jumps down and shatters the invisible barrier that prevents anything from taking a shortcut. Yuk panics and realizes that they have no choice but to fight. He immediately pulls out a scroll to cast multiple enchantments on the girls, but the boss monster sends a dark wave towards Marina, shattering her barrier and knocking her out. While Rain heals her, Yuk and Silk take a stand against the Shadow Stalker. Yuk charges at it, and as the monster destroys his barrier, he understands that it can destroy magical shields. He uses an illusion spell to distract the boss monster with a clone while he reaches behind it, and then puts 3 offensive enchantments on his sword to attack. However, just as he is about to hit the boss monster, it uses a curse spell to completely freeze his body. Yuk realizes that this monster is really strong and intelligent, and they have no way to beat it. He wants to tell the girls to run away, but his body is frozen and he can't even utter a word. The girls panic on seeing their leader being taken down, and then the Shadow Stalker sends a dark storm towards them. Rain blocks it with a holy shield, and then Silk summons strong vines to attack the boss monster. It dodges everything and then attacks Silk from behind while Rain is busy trying to revive Yuk. Luckily, Marina is back in action. Silk takes the command in Yuk's absence and tells Rain to enchant Marina's sword with Holy Element. Rain does that, and Marina tries to attack the boss monster from up close, but it keeps dodging everything. Rain uses a wide-range spell to attack him, but the boss disappears and then appears near Marina and Rain, injuring them with his sharp claws. Next, he uses powerful magic to shoot dark magic beams at the girls from all sides. But just as all hope seems lost, Yuke comes back to his senses and uses a scroll that creates a holy shield around them. He throws away the high-level artifact that protected him from lethal damage and tells the Shadow Stalker that it will pay for hurting his girls. He immediately casts 1,000 snare circles on the ground, and no matter how hard the monster tries, he cannot avoid them all. He keeps slipping, and then Yuke uses all the debuff spells he knows to weaken it. He then uses a healing spell to get all the girls in peak shape. Next, Silk uses a tier 4 spell to bind the boss monster in strong vines, and then produces sharp thorns to pierce it all over. After that, Marina attacks it with her ultimate move, and finally, Rain casts the purification magic to exorcise the monster made of darkness. The fight is over with that, and Marina immediately runs to hug Yuke and crush his ribs. After that, Yuke asks Rain what did she learn about the Shadow Stalker from this fight, and she reveals that he was a zombie with an incredibly dense mana that should not be possible naturally. She believes that this is the clear sign of an overflow, and everyone gets worried. Marina and Silk suggest that they should start a live stream to inform everyone about it, but Yuke is against that. He says that they are wearing armor that has not been made public yet, so if they reveal it without the permission of their client, it would be problematic. He thinks that they should just reach the second dungeon and complete their quest so that they can inform the guild about it quickly. He starts moving ahead, but Rain stops him and heals the injury on his face before they continue their quest. They soon come to the gate to the second dungeon and end their mission by touching it. Later, they return to the city, and Yuke reports to the guild about the existence of the Shadow Stalker. He comes out to tell the girls that they can be interviewed later, so they will stay in this city for a few more days. They are really excited to hear that and tell Yuke that they should go sightseeing in their free time, and he gladly agrees. On the other side, Yuke's former party, Thunder Pike, is having a hard time ever since he left. They complain about eating dried food because when Yuke was with them, they could eat something new each time because of his magic pot. They aren't really cooperating well with each other as well, and leaving important things to the healer and the magician. On top of that, the magician is being treated like an errand girl, and everyone tells her to learn some useful skills because she is too weak and can't contribute much to the fight. Anyway, she turns on the live stream before their party heads into the dungeon, but within a couple of hours, they return to the guild after failing the mission. The receptionist smiles as she tells them that they have been failing a lot recently, and if that continues, they might get demoted. This infuriates Simon, but the receptionist stands on business and tells him to take easier jobs to save his party's name. After that, they start drinking and eating, and the magician girl Jamie sits at a separate table. The big warrior is furious that the receptionist talked about demoting them, but Simon says that she was right because they can't take high-level quests with just the 4 of them. The healer tells him to find another party member in that case because that is his job as a leader. The 3 of them quickly come to the conclusion that they need Yuke back in their team at all costs, but they don't know what they can do to make him come back. Simon, being Yuke's childhood friend, knows that he won't return so easily, and if they want to attract his attention, they need something that will convince him. He says that if they want to get Yuke interested, they will need to challenge the Infinite Darkness dungeon because that has been his goal since the beginning. He believes that if they do a joint quest with other parties, they can attract Yuke. Simon says that they just have to pretend to be serious about it because Yuke won't be able to think properly on hearing their offer to join them. The warrior and the healer agree with him, but the magician Jamie is really disappointed by how low her party has fallen. On the other hand, Yuke and his girls are back in the city after their successful quest. As they take a stroll through the market, everyone recognizes the girls because they were in the ad video released by the popular armor brand Earthies, but some butthurt men are jealous of them as well. Anyway, they are out on a mission to find a house to rent for their party. Their broker takes them to a house in the suburbs first, but Yuke turns it down because it doesn't look too safe for women. Next, the agent takes them to another house, and everyone thinks that it is better than the previous one. Yuke asks the agent to keep it on hold for them, and he says that he has one last option to show them. He takes them to the last house, but Yuke gets nervous as they get close because Thunder Pike's base is also in this region. On hearing this, all the girls decide that they don't even need to see the third property because they don't want a bunch of assholes to be their neighbors. With that, they buy the second house and their stuff is moved in soon as well. Yuke asks the girls if they have decided on their rooms because they should sort out their stuff quickly, and they say that they were just thinking about it. Silk asks Yuk which room does he want, and he gets confused because he wasn't planning on staying with them. He tries to tell them that it is not a good idea because he is a man after all, but the girls laugh at this incel who gets uncomfortable at the mere thought of sharing a house with 3 girls. Marina tells him that this is their party base, so all of them should stay together, and no one will mind if he accidentally walks in on them while they are taking showers or getting stuck in the washing machine. Yuk tells them that he has no desire to see their thottery and asks them to keep their doors locked all the times because they should not trust any man, not even him. With that, they settle into their new house, and Yuk even buys a 64-inch OLED television so that they can watch their recorded videos in 4K. The girls thank him for the gift, and they make a toast to celebrate buying their own base. As they start drinking, Rain's gaze becomes glued to the TV, and when Yuk looks at the screen, he sees his former party declaring that they are going to take on the Infinite Darkness dungeon. There are going to be more high-level parties with them on the quest to investigate the dungeon, and even the kingdom has given them the permission to enter. Yuk is stunned to hear this, and his girls try to comfort him. He tells them that he doesn't have any FOMO because the dungeon is going to be there even after this mission. He says that he wants to explore the bottom floor of the dungeon and reach the Abyss Gate, but now he wants to do it with his girls. He tells them that they don't need to worry about anything, because they will reach the dungeon one day, and then they will live stream their greatest adventure. As they start eating and drinking again, a letter slips in through the door and Yuk finds that it is from the guild. He goes there immediately, and the receptionist gives him an invitation letter from Thunder Pike, who wants him to join their party for the exploration of the Infinite Darkness dungeon. They promise to make him a permanent member after the quest, but Yuk wants nothing from them, and he asks the receptionist to reject the invitation on his behalf. After that, Yuk and Rain go grocery shopping, but Simon finds them there. He is furious because Yuk denied the invitation to join their party and asks if he has forgotten his dream to explore the dungeon. Yuk remains calm and tells him that he is proud that his former party is going to explore the hardest dungeon and wishes him all the best. Simon loses his cool and says that their plan needs him to be in the party, but Yuk refuses again. Simon tries to intimidate him by shouting, but Yuk tells him to use his brain for once. He reminds him that sending a request to someone who is already in a party is considered bad manners, and he is free to refuse any requests. The asshole knight blames Yuk for everything their party has gone through after he left, but that was the final straw. Yuk can't take it anymore and tells him that leaving the party was the best decision he ever made. He begins yelling at Simon, reminding that he dumped all the tasks that didn't involve fighting on him. He says that the party had it really easy because he was doing all the important work, but they never valued his contribution. Simon is taken aback by his rage, but then Rain holds Yuk's hand, calming him down. Simon tries to convince Yuk to return, promising that things will be different this time, but Yuk replies that it is too late. He says that he is going to stick with his party Clover, and whatever happens to Thunder Pike doesn't concern him. Yuk walks away holding Rain's hand and Simon curses him, saying that they will manage it even without him. 2 weeks later, Yuk is summoned by the guild master who tells him about the abnormalities in dungeons all around the region, which clearly signals a stampede. The guild master says that even the royal scholars think the same, and the reason they gave permission to investigate the Infinite Darkness dungeon was because of this. Yuk realizes that the situation is a lot more serious than he thought, and then the guild master says that he has a quest for his party. He wants them to investigate the Infinite Darkness dungeon, and Yuk immediately shoots down the idea because it is too dangerous. He says that Thunder Pike and other rank parties are strong enough to do the quest on their own, but the guild master informs him that 2 of the parties, including Thunder Pike, have backed out. He then gives Yuk a report about the only recorded log of the Infinite Darkness dungeon, reminding him of his dream to reach the bottom of the dungeon. The guild master tells him that they need someone as skilled and resourceful as him to take charge of this investigation. The old man then gives Yuk a scroll of exit, a super rare item that can teleport one out of the dungeon. Yuk asks why is he so insistent on him to take the mission, and he replies that he is the only person whose information he can trust. Just then, the receptionist comes there and hands over the official quest letter from the king to Yuk. He realizes that it will be tough to turn down the mission now, and tells the guildmaster that he will consult his party members before giving a final answer. Once he reaches home, he explains everything to the girls and says that they should turn down the request because it is too dangerous and they are not prepared for it. The girls, however, think that they have the latest equipment, and with some luck, they can manage to investigate the dungeon. Yuk is still not convinced because he is scared of losing them, and Rain hugs him, asking him to show more trust in them. The other girls also tell him to stop hesitating and chase his dreams freely, because they want to rise up in the world of adventurers with him. Their words give Yuk confidence, and he goes to the guildmaster's office with the girls and accepts the quest. He says that they might need another party member to fill in the role of a scout, and the guildmaster says that he has already prepared for that. On his cue, the receptionist comes there with a nervous cat girl who introduces herself as Neen. She says that she specializes as a ninja and wants to join their party for this mission. Yuk has no problem with a new party member, and they immediately go to the entrance of the Infinite Darkness dungeon, which surprisingly was under the guild building the whole time. The receptionist tells them that the guild building was made on top of the dungeon entrance to hide it from the world. The guild master tells Yuk that initially, there were 3 rank parties that were going to enter the dungeon, but 2 of them backed out. Yuk's former party, Thunder Party, is the only one left, and right now, they are inside the dungeon, but their sponsors are not happy with them. The guild master then tells him to be careful on the mission and wishes him all the best. Yuk checks his party's status and finds that all of them are fully prepared to enter the dungeon. With that, the entrance to the dungeon is opened, and Yuk starts the live stream before heading inside. The space inside the dungeon is warped with irregular gravity, but the party is able to walk through the passageway without difficulty. The cat girl Neen uses a magic lantern to check for any traps and a magic compass to find the direction. She finds no traps nearby, so she decides to go ahead and scout the area on her own before everyone else can catch up. In the meantime, the girls ask Yuk how is he feeling after coming to the Infinite Darkness dungeon that he has always dreamt of. Yuk tells them that it isn't as emotional or thrilling as he imagined, but Silk says that she is feeling quite excited. She says that her main reason to start adventuring was money, but when she heard Yuk talking about his dreams so passionately, she changed her mindset. That is why she feels really excited to be standing in this dungeon alongside Yuk, because he is very close to fulfilling his dream. Yuk is glad to hear that, and just then, Neen returns with her report. She found nothing dangerous on the first floor and even located the entrance to the first floor. But it is even more weird. There is a sunken ship in the middle of a forest on the first floor, and Yuk keeps looking around for anything more suspicious or out of place. He tells the girls that Thunder Pike has already reached the 8th floor of the dungeon. Marina says it is too slow because they started their journey 2 weeks ago. Yuk says that their pace is going to be even slower because they just have to investigate the dungeon for any odd thing. They are going to live stream everything so that the scholars at the Royal Academy can locate any problems or suspicious things. Just then, Neen stops everyone because her magic mirror shows her that a monster is nearby and they can't avoid it. They soon come across the monster, and Yuk asks Rain to hit it with a compact defensive spell and Silk to aim for its head. He then pulls a huge crossbow out of his and gives it to Marina so that she can attack the monster from a distance as well. Rain starts chanting a powerful spell, and while she takes her time, Yuk uses his special magic prismatic missile to hit the shark-headed monster. That doesn't do much damage, and the monster starts coming towards them, so Marina shoots it with her crossbow, piercing its chest. The monster gets furious because of this, and then Rain hits it with a fire spell, setting it ablaze. The monster is still standing, so Silk shoots 3 arrows at it. Seeing that it is still struggling to stay upright, Yuk gets in front of the girls to protect them, but after a few seconds, the monster finally falls down. Neen is impressed because she didn't even get to show her skills, and on top of that, she saw the unique spell that made Yuk famous. After that, they reach the safe zone and Yuk pauses the live stream while everyone rests and recovers their strength. Next, Yuk shifts everyone's attention to the treasure chest in front of them and suggests that they should open it off camera to avoid any controversies. He asks Neen to show her thief skills, and she begins poking around the keyhole to locate any traps. She finds a simple trap inside and easily deactivates it before opening the chest that is loaded with jewels. The girls start drooling on seeing so many jewels, and Yuk asks Silk to store all of them. Once she is done, he decides to inspect whatever is left in the treasure. He finds a ring artifact and a black cube artifact, which he can't analyze or understand. He tells the girls that it seems that the artifact is a baby that doesn't even know what it is. The girls get excited on hearing that the artifact is a baby, and both Marina and Rain want it. Yuk tells them that they will need to run it by the guildmaster to know what it is first, but he is sure that it is something rare. He then asks Rain to show her and then puts the ring he just found on her ring finger because it fits perfectly. He tells her that she should use this ring that can stabilize her mind, but when he looks at her, he finds that he has destroyed her mental balance by his actions. Rain is blushing like crazy because Yuke essentially proposed to her, and now she has no problem with giving the black box to Marina. They resume their exploration with that, and Nin uses the magic compass that detects the flow of air to find the entrance to the second floor. Once they reach the safe zone on the second floor, Yuke asks the girls what they think was odd about this dungeon. They tell him that the way the scenery changes constantly was odd, and other than that, only the shark-headed monster seemed out of place. Yuke agrees and adds that the treasure chest they found on the first floor was also unusual, because treasure chests are normally found in floors that are more difficult. He thinks that there must be some relation between the shark monster and the treasure chest being found on the first floor, and decides to think about it later. He says that they should head back for today since they have explored enough, and the girls agree. They walk back to the dungeon entrance, but then Nin senses someone coming towards them. It turns out to be Yuke's former party, which has got 2 new members for this mission. Simon acts arrogant as he tells Yuke that if he was going to come down here anyway, he should have accepted their invitation. Yuke replies that he was not going to fall for his scheme, and then reveals that they are here on a formal mission from the king. The other members of Thunder Pike get furious for no reason and call Yuke an ungrateful bastard, but Simon acts like they are partners on the same mission. He tells Yuke to hand over the livestream recording and all the items he has gathered to Thunder Pike because they are in an alliance now. He also pulls rank and says that it will be better if a rank party makes the report to the guild master, and his friends try to convince Yuke into thinking that it is the best option for his party's future. They keep telling Yuke to think of it as a great favor, and he starts getting pissed. Rain is also frustrated with their attitude, so she lashes at them for trying to use their rank to blackmail Yuke. Simon's party members tell her to shut up, calling her a savage dark elf, and that is when Yuke runs out of patience. He lashes at the warrior and the priestess, telling them that he won't tolerate anyone who insults his party members. He even gets ready to draw his sword against them, but Simon tries playing cool and asks him to hand over his loot. Yuke just slaps his hand away, telling him that he will never work with nasty a**holes like them. He leaves Simon and others shocked with his response as he tells his girls that they should return to the surface. This entire conversation was live streamed, and everyone who watched it thinks that it will cause a big problem soon. Well, it does cause a big problem, and not for Yuke's party, but for Thunder Pike. 2 days after this incident, they are summoned to the guild master's headquarters, who tells them there have been multiple official complaints against them from their sponsors, the Country of Elves, and the guild headquarters. Simon doesn't take it seriously and says that the bigger problem should be a C-rank party insulting a rank party like theirs. He adds that the guild should never have let a party with a savage dark elf in it enter the dungeon in the first place. But the guild master punches this racist piece of shit before he can complete the sentence. The guildmaster walks towards him as he says that since an A-rank adventurer like him made racist remarks against a dark elf on a live stream, it has harmed the reputation of their country. He grabs Simon by the throat, saying that his actions can cause serious problems between their country and the elves, and to prevent that, Thunder Pike will have to do an apology stream. Not only that, they will be put on trial, and in the worst case, they may be exiled forever. He lets him go with that, and Simon says that it is an unwise decision because if they exile an A-rank party, they won't have anyone to explore the dangerous dungeon. The guild master reveals that there will be no problem because Yuke's party has been given a temporary A-rank for this mission, and they have already shown great results. Despite this warning, Simon is not ready to apologize to anyone, and he curses Yuke for setting him up with his livestream. As he is busy cursing him in the middle of the street later, the fat ugly noble comes there and tells Simon that he has a way to get revenge on Yuke that will benefit them both. On the other hand, Marina approaches Yuke because she has figured out the use of the black box artifact. Yuke is eager to learn how a dumb like her could discover it, and Marina replies that after she spent enough time with the box, the idea came to her naturally. However, she can't use it by herself, and she needs Yuke's help to fully activate the artifact. He thinks that it needs a touch of his alchemy skills, but instead, Marina just asks him to hold the box and think about her. Yuke thinks about Marina as a fighter, and suddenly, the black box transforms into a special sword designed just for her. Marina is overjoyed to see the sword, but Yuke doesn't even understand what is happening. Marina refuses to explain things to him, and just says that the black box was like a baby. and it needed a mom and a dad before it could start functioning. Yuke gets embarrassed on hearing that, while this psycho bitch starts cuddling with the sword itself. The next day, Yuke and the Clover Party go to the Infinite Darkness dungeon again, and he turns the live stream on in advance. He then tells the girls that their mission for today is to reach the stairs in the 3rd floor of the dungeon, and they will decide whether to explore more or return based on what they find there. They quickly cross the 1st floor without issues and then reach the 2nd floor, which is much different than they expected. It is a vast grassy plain, and even the sky is there despite them being inside the dungeon. Everyone is left astonished by this sight, but Yuke tells them to take a deep breath and calm themselves. He says that there are records of some dungeon floors copying the outside world, but they are always found deeper than the 20th floor. He wonders if this floor is like the outside world because the dungeon layout changed, or if the lower floors of the dungeon are moving upwards because of some irregularity. No one has any answer to that yet, and Yuke decides to find more about the floor first. He asks Nin to do her thing, but her compass that tells the wind direction is not working because the wind here is too strong. Rain suggests that she can use her telescopic eye spell to scan the area quickly, and Yuke tells her to go ahead. This thirsty hoe climbs on his shoulders, and he begins melting under her thick thighs. Rain then uses her telescopic eye spell to look far away and finds a house in the distance before her eyes get tired. Yuke decides to check the house out, and on the way, he tells the girls that ruins are commonly found in dungeons, but a complete house appearing is a really suspicious thing. Moreover, he is worried about the sun in the sky. He believes that it is some sort of artifact that is giving them light and heat, but if it is designed to work like the real sun, it may set when night arrives. He thinks that it may be one of the dungeon floor mechanisms, and suggests that they take action while the sun is still shining. Soon, they reach the house and surprisingly, it looks newly built. Rain can't sense any mana coming from it, but Yuke refuses to believe that it is a normal house. Suddenly, the house door opens and an old woman comes out holding a tray with tea and pumpkin pie. She treats Yuke and the girls as guests and asks them to come and have tea with her, but they are incredibly alert now. Yuke refuses her offer, saying that they don't think they should come inside her house because it is suspicious, and the old woman says that he shouldn't resist because it is going to be night soon. Just as she says this, the day turns into evening and the house starts growing bigger. Yuke feels strangely drawn towards the house but stops right before entering it, and the old lady reveals her true form to be a goth mommy. She tells Yuke that he is a smart one to realize that coming inside would have been dangerous, and then her house grows even larger, turning into a dark castle where she sits on her throne after turning into a lowly. Yuke realizes that the woman in front of them is Persephone, the ruler of the underworld. Persephone is again impressed by how smart he is, and says that she is going to trap his soul and that of his friends for her entertainment till eternity, and they can't do anything about it. Yuke suddenly kneels before her, respectfully greeting her and saying that he will meet her again when his time comes, but not today. Persephone reluctantly takes his word, but she puts a curse mark on him to always remind of his promise. With that, Yuke tells the girls to run back to the 1st floor immediately and uses physical enchantment magic, allowing them to reach the safe zone before the dark mist of the castle catches them. Yuke ends the livestream and his girls give him a mirror so that he can see the curse mark on his face. Rain examines it and finds that it is way beyond her level, and Yuke tells her that he will hit the temple as soon as they reach home to do something about it. They begin having lunch with that, and Yuke tells the girls that they were just in Persephone's territory, which is mentioned in the old myths where daytime is just like Earth, full of life, but when night comes, it becomes the underworld and everything reverses. Yuke suddenly comes up with a theory about the underworld being found in the dungeon, and says that it must be because of the abyss gate located at the end of the dungeon. He says that different worlds are connected to each other through the abyss gate, and the infinite darkness must be a special dungeon that can replicate those worlds inside it. He thinks that Persephone's world is one of such worlds, but the bigger mystery is how something so dangerous was present on the 2nd floor of the dungeon. Suddenly, Yuke comes up with another theory that states that maybe they did not go to the 2nd floor, but to the 30th floor, which is the last explored floor of the dungeon. Rain seems to agree with him, and she says that maybe the stairs are making them skip a bunch of floors and leading them to random floors instead of going in the proper order. Yuke wonders if they should use the scroll of exit to teleport outside right away, but the girls suggest that they should recover their strength and try to reach the floor above them before taking the extreme step. Yuke listens to their suggestion, and all of them go to sleep. The next day, Yuke opens his eyes on hearing Simon's voice and finds that he is tied down. He doesn't understand what is going on, and Simon tells him that he followed him here to settle the score with him. He tells Yuke not to try anything because his party has his girls as hostages, and they have even put a slave collar around Rain's neck, which he got from one of his sponsors. Yuke tells him that if word about this gets out, he will be arrested, but Simon doesn't care because he is already at rock bottom. He tells Yuke that there is a way in which the girls don't get hurt, and that involves him signing a contract that reads that Clover and Thunderpike had formed an alliance when the mission started, and racist remarks against elves were common in Clover. Thunderpike was doing just what they do, so the root of the entire problem is Yuke, who started it all. According to the contract, Yuke is going to take responsibility for everything and his entire party will be absorbed into Thunderpike to cover for the damages they have done. Yuke is aghast on reading all this, and he says that he thought Simon was just an idiot, but he turned out to be an absolute Simon kicks him for saying that, and then starts stomping on him angrily, saying that if he doesn't comply, he will give the girls in his party all the STDs he has, and then kill them. He then derails from the topic and starts cursing Yuke for the misfortunes of his party while continuing to beat him. The warrior from Thunderpike tells Simon to stop wasting his time there and share the girls with him, and to avoid that, Yuke decides to sign the contract. However, just as he is about to sign it, the dungeon begins to shake, and then the floor suddenly collapses. Simon and his friends fall down first, and when Yuke goes to help his girls, he finds that Simon has taken his magic bag. He can't do anything in this case, and the ground under them collapses too. However, the magician girl Jamie, who is finding it hard to keep up with the scumbags of Thunderpike, uses a spell to slow down their falling speed. Yuke thanks her for saving them, and Simon can't stop cursing her. Just then, a huge horde of orcs come out and Jamie immediately gives Simon his magic bag before waking up and freeing his girls. Simon uses a scroll to keep the orcs away, and then decides to use the scroll of exit to get out. He asks Jamie to bring Simon and others in range as well, and she asks if he is sure about it after all they did to him. Yuke says that the law will decide what to do with them, but Simon has other plans. He takes Rain hostage and tells Yuke to save him if he wants to see the girl. The orcs start attacking them and Marina and other girls hold them off. Simon once again tells Yuke to save him, but then Jamie tackles him from behind, letting Rain get away. Simon kicks her and then starts walking towards Yuke like a deranged lunatic, even abandoning his party members who can't move. Jamie shoots a magic bullet at his knee to stop him from hurting Yuke anymore. Yuke asks her to come now, but she refuses, deciding to accept her fate with her old party instead. Simon tries ordering Rain through the slave collar to obey him, but Yuke teleports his party away before that. Simon gets frustrated and desperate because of this, and he decides to put forbidden muscle juice into his body to fight against the orcs who are gathering around him. Soon, Yuke and his party reach their home, and they find a recording stone left in Yuke's bag. It contains a message from Jamie, who just wants to apologize to Yuke for everything. She says that Yuke always arranged a necessary medicine for her sick brother, and she kept pestering him to give it to her for free without knowing how expensive it was. She feels pathetic about it, and says that she learnt Yuke's value only after he left her party. She thinks that if she had apologized to him sincerely earlier, he might have forgiven her and even let her join his party. Now, she thinks it is too late for anything like that, and that is why she is recording this message to make up for her past actions. Suddenly, Simon yells her name, and she abruptly ends the recording, but not before revealing that the list of the evil deeds of Thunderpike are recorded on the magic stone. Yuke feels terrible on seeing the message because after everything Jamie did to make sure he escaped the dungeon unharmed, he left her behind to die. Rain tries comforting him, saying that they had no other option, and then the guildmaster tells them that he just got a distress message from the Infinite Darkness dungeon. He plays the message on the TV, and it is just a voice note from Jamie saying that the dungeon is in a bad shape and the floors are falling apart. The guildmaster says that they are wondering if they should send a rescue team or not, and Yuke suddenly volunteers to go in and save Jamie. He asks the guildmaster to find another scroll of exit, but the old man tells him that he will be the one to decide if it is worth sending a rescue mission. He leaves the room with that, and Yuke tells his girls that he will go in alone to save Jamie, but the girls tell him that they too owe their life to Jamie, so they will come along. Yuke then decides to do something about the slave collar around Rain's neck, and he recites an unknown spell to deactivate the collar. Everyone is surprised to see this, and Rain says that she has never heard of a spell like this. Yuk believes that it is some sort of dark magic spell that was forced into him by the goddess of death Persephone along with her curse mark. While the girls are worried about him, Yuk thinks it is a good thing that he got the attention of the goddess of death. With that out of the way, he starts planning the rescue mission, when someone suddenly starts knocking at his door quite violently. Yuk opens the door and finds the fat, ugly noble there, who tells him that he should have opened the door quickly for his master. Yuk tells him to get the hell away from his home, and when the man tries punching him, he just kicks him where it hurts the most. His guards try to attack Yuk, but Marina and Neen quickly knock them out. The incel is shocked to see that the girls can still go against his orders because he is sure that Simon put the slave collar around Rain. He takes out the remote control and starts calling for Rain, and she soon arrives at the doorstep. The incel gets happy, thinking that she is obeying him, but Rain hits him in the face with a crowbar, knocking him down. Rain agrees to let the bastard live because of that, but she puts the slave collar around his neck and takes the remote control from him, telling him that if he tries approaching her ever again, he will die in the most painful and embarrassing manner imaginable. The incel tries explaining himself to her, but she just stands by Yuk and holds his hand, saying that she belongs to him now. Even Yuk is surprised to hear this, but he decides to make sure that the fatty never even comes near Rain again. He walks up to him and uses a dark spell that will make his blood literally boil till he dies if he comes close to Rain. The fatty freaks out on hearing that, and then Yuk asks Marina and others to hand him over to the guards. Later that evening, Yuk and the girls have made all the preparations for the dungeon run, but they are still missing the scroll of exit, which is the most important item. Yuk fears that the guildmaster might not find another one in time because they are so rare, when a veteran adventurer named Lucent knocks on his door. He is there to give Yuk a scroll of exit, because he believes that rescuing friends from danger is one of the most important duties of an adventurer. With the scroll in his bag, Yuk decides to enter the dungeon again, despite the guildmaster telling him that the dungeon is going to be sealed by royal orders, and he will be punished for entering it. The old man asks Yuk if he even knows how to find Jamie in there, and he explains the theory that the stairways lead to different worlds, which are affected by the subconscious thoughts of the adventurer. The guildmaster and the receptionist remember their glory days when they raided the dungeon, and Yuk's theory makes sense to them. They tell Yuk all the best for his mission, and he just asks them to start preparing for a welcome party. With that, Yuk and his party enter infinite darkness, and they immediately run into some monsters. With Yuk backing the girls with support magic, they manage to defeat them quickly and reach the safe zone. As they walk down the stairs, Yuk keeps thinking about saving Jamie, and his trick works because the second floor turns out to be a terribly damaged copy of their city. Neen finds a blood trail, and they immediately follow it in hopes that Jamie is still alive. They find her unconscious near her apartment, but then, to their utter surprise, Simon comes out and tells Yuk that he was going to come looking for him anyway. Yuk can't believe that Simon is still alive, but Silk tells him that he is not. She can sense a dark and twisted mana coming out of his body, just like she felt from the Shadow Stalker, and she is certain that he is a zombie. Yuk finally understands that the fat incel must have given Simon a powerful artifact that turned him into a zombie so that he could still keep fighting even after his death. Simon tells Yuk that he will make him pay for everything he has done, and releases a powerful wave of dark energy, and Marina immediately charges ahead to face him. Yuk quickly buffs her, and she manages to cut off Simon's arm before retreating. However, that is pointless because he immediately grows it back. He then releases another burst of dark energy towards Yuk, who uses a scroll to create a holy magic shield. Simon immediately charges towards him for close combat, but Yuk dodges his attack and tries to snare him, but that doesn't work. In the meantime, Silk and Rain use their magic spells to trap Simon, but he easily destroys them with his dark magic. Yuk immediately attacks him head-on, and Simon keeps yelling that he will kill him and destroy everything he loves. Yuk slashes him continuously, but Simon heals from everything instantly. Yuk takes a few steps back and decides to use his special spell Prismatic Missile to attack him. Simon takes the magic head-on and remains unharmed, confident that his immortal body will not be destroyed by it, and that is exactly what Yuk wanted. Simon's body suddenly starts bursting up in different places, and he begins growing uncontrollably from every place where an explosion occurs. He becomes an ever-growing lump of flesh and doesn't understand anything. Marina is also confused, so Yuke tells her that he used Persephone's power to modify the prismatic missile so that it stays active as long as the target is alive. Since Simon is immortal now, he will keep on suffering from the spell till eternity. Simon asks Yuke to stop his spell, reminding him that they are childhood friends, but he has nothing more to do with the bastard, and he walks away while Simon keeps exploding and growing like a cancer. Rain has been trying to heal Jamie in the meantime, but neither healing magic nor potions work on her wounds that were caused by Simon's dark magic. She has lost hope of surviving and apologizes to Yuke one final time before dying, but he tells her not to give up just yet. He uses Persephone's power to dispel all curses from her, healing her injuries instantly. Jamie faints as soon as her injuries are cured, but Rain is certain that she will be better now. Suddenly, the sky turns dark and a bunch of shadow stalkers spawn out of nowhere. They begin tearing apart Simon, and he keeps screaming in pain while his body continues to grow. Yuke bids farewell to the man who was once his friend as he uses the scroll of exit, leaving Simon to suffer in the dungeon for an eternity. 1 week after this incident, the guildmaster summons Yuke and Jamie to hand over their punishments. Yuke and his party's punishment is just a deduction of their score and a 1-month ban on any adventurer work, while Jamie's punishment is cancellation of her adventure license for 1 year. Neither of them can believe that they are getting off this easy, but the old guildmaster tells them to not think too much about it. They leave the guild after that, and Jamie still cannot stop apologizing to Yuke for everything Thunderpike did to him. She feels pathetic for taking advantage of his kindness for so long and wants to change, but Yuke tells her that she has already changed enough. Jamie starts falling for him, and she thanks him with a bright smile before they both head to their homes. A few days after that, Yuke visits the guild receptionist to make Neen a permanent member of Team Clover. The receptionist is glad to hear that and says that she will immediately start the paperwork. Yuke suggests that she should ask Neen about that first, but the woman knows what she is doing. She opens the door to the room, and Neen, who is snooping in on them, falls to the ground immediately. The receptionist lashes out on the catgirl for that, but Yuke tells her that it is fine. He then asks Neen if she wants to join his party, and she is more than happy to accept his offer. Suddenly, the receptionist hugs Neen, because as her mentor, she is really happy that she is joining a really great party. After their touching moment is over, Yuke leaves the room with Neen, who tells him that she was here to deliver a letter to him from Silk. As Yuke opens the letter, he tells Neen that they should check on Jamie before going home, and the catgirl silently follows him. Jamie has become a librarian now, and she uses her magic to place books in high shelves. Yuke and Neen come to the room and start making small talk. Yuke tells Jamie that this room belonged to the guildmaster, but he couldn't maintain it after bringing too many different books here. Jamie sighs, saying that it will take her a week to organize all the books and records in the room, and that greatly impresses Neen because a dimwit like her would need an entire year to do the same. Jamie is taken aback by that, but then she calms down and thanks Yuke for helping her get a job at the guild. She also thanks him for providing medicines for her brother, and then asks if he needs anything from her. Yuke tells her that it is Silk who actually wants to talk to her. He asks Jamie to stop by their house when she is going back home, but has no clue about the topic. Anyway, Jamie is almost done with her day's work, so she tags along Yuke and Neen as they head home. They begin talking about the weather like boring people, and Neen says that she doesn't like winter at all. Yuke tells her that his hometown got a lot of snow during winters, and he begins recalling the fun moments he had with Simon in their childhood. He gets depressed because of that, but the girls realize what he is thinking and snap him out of it. Soon, they reach their house, and Yuke urges the girls to go in first. They are surprised and suspicious of his actions, but still decide to follow them. As they open the door, Silk and others burst some party poppers to welcome Neen and Jamie to the Clover party. Both of them are really surprised, but that was what Yuke and his girls had planned for them. Jamie gets mad at him for deceiving them, but Neen is really thrilled about it. She feels happy on becoming an official member of Clover, and the girls take her inside. Jamie, however, stands in the doorway with her head hung down, and Yuke asks if she doesn't want to join their party. She emotionally tells him that after everything she has done to him, she doesn't deserve to be in his party. Silk and others return to the doorway on hearing this, and they tell Jamie that she is one of them now. They remind her that she saved their lives, so everything is even between them, and they could surely benefit with one more member in their party. Jamie is moved to tears on hearing their kind words, and then the welcome party starts. Yuk raises his glass to make a toast, but Marina interrupts him, saying that there are 6 of them, and she has never heard of a 6-leaf clover. Even Rain has never heard of that, but Jamie has, and she says that in flower language, a 6-leaf clover means glory. Yuk is glad to hear that their party name still makes sense, and he makes a toast to their future. Once the party is over, he walks Jamie home, and they start talking about the old times. Yuk says that when he first came to the city, he admired Jamie because he was a country bumpkin, and she gave off city girl vibes. Jamie also remembers the time when Yuk was completely clueless about most things in the city. To hide his embarrassment, Yuk says that Simon was the same as him, but the mention of Simon turns the mood of the conversation gloomy very quickly. Both Yuk and Jamie steer the conversation to their first mission as an adventuring party, and Yuk says that even though things were not good for him generally, he had fun with Thunderpike. He then says that maybe it is his fault that Thunderpike was completely destroyed, but Jamie doesn't think so. Yuk says that things would have been different if he confronted the other party members, but Jamie says that they would have not realized the value of his hard work back then, and he would have left them anyway. She holds Yuk's hand, telling him that it was not his fault. She says that she will repay him for everything once the ban on her is lifted and she becomes an adventurer again. After dropping her home, Yuk returns back to his place and finds Rain washing dishes by herself. She tells him that Neen was really excited about moving all her stuff in today itself, so she took Marina and Silk to help her. Rain had to stay behind because she lost in rock paper scissors, and now she has to do the dishes alone. Yuk starts helping her out, and Rain starts having fun seeing themselves working together. She says that they look like a newlywed couple, and that statement catches Yuk completely off guard. Rain starts sulking that he reacted so shocked, and she asks Yuk to come clean with his feelings. He suddenly holds her hand, and they both start blushing as Yuk says that he is not sure what he should do. After staring at each other for a while, Rain kisses him on the cheek, telling him that this is how she feels, and asks him to give his answer later. Yuk is completely flustered now, but before he can react, Neen and others return. They call Yuk to help them move the heavy stuff, and he runs away, still flushing red. A month later, the suspension on the Clover Party is finally removed, and Yuk visits the guild building to get some information about the available quests. The receptionist has a little insider news for him, and she informs him that a new dungeon has been discovered recently. Yuk is shocked to hear that because the last dungeon was discovered 10 years ago. The receptionist tells him about the dungeon's location and says that it would be a nice place to do the comeback live stream of the Clover Party. Yuk begins thinking about it, and then the receptionist adds that the royal scholars think that the abnormalities with all other dungeons were because of the appearance of this new dungeon. Since the Clover Party did a great job investigating the Infinite Darkness dungeon, the scholars want them to investigate the new dungeon as well, and the kingdom has issued an official mission request for them. Yuk is surprised and thrilled to learn that the kingdom is giving his party another great chance, but he cannot give an answer to the request before consulting his party members. He returns home to share the information with the girls, but he only finds Marina doing maintenance on her gear, while the other 3 are busy elsewhere. Yuk decides to tell them about the mission request at dinner, and Marina tells him that she is going to the guild for a bit because Jamie had something exciting to share with her. Just as she leaves, Rain comes out of the bath with her hair dripping wet, and tells Yuk to dry them for her. He does as he is told, and after that, Rain heads for a nap, inviting Yuk to join her, but he is a wimp to jump at the offer. Just then, Silk comes there with some coffee for him, and as they sit down to have a sip, Yuk decides to share the information with her first because she is the most responsible member of the party. Silk is also really excited to hear about the new dungeon, and asks Yuk if he has any details about the mission. He tells her that he forgot to ask for the details and decides to visit the guild once again. Silk asks him to visit Jamie in the guild as well, and invite her and her brother to the party they are throwing to celebrate the ending of their suspension. Yuk tells her that he will do so, and then Silk suddenly starts acting shy, asking him to take some free time and spoil her like he spoils Rain. Yuk panics on hearing that, but Silk dismisses it as a joke and sends him away to the guild to get information about the new dungeon. Soon, Yuk and the girls head to the city of Duna, where the new dungeon has been found. Yuk drives a carriage while the girls keep chatting about how excited they are to go to a faraway city to explore a new dungeon. After 2 weeks of traveling, they finally reach the trade city Duna. They immediately reach the market as soon as they enter the city and find that it has different kinds of stores they have never seen before. Yuke grosses Marina out by saying that people here eat three-eyed frogs stewed in snail slime, but then tells her that he was just joking. He suggests that they should try out the food in this city before they go on the dungeon exploration mission, and then promises Rain that he will visit an artifact shop with her too. Rain notices that a lot of adventurers are in the market, and Yuke suspects that the news of the new dungeon has already spread. He points out that there are even adventurers and soldiers from nearby countries here. The nation whose presence is felt most strongly is Salmuteria, a nearby country with a very strict social hierarchy. Yuke tells the girls that the people in Salmuteria are quite proud and rigid when it comes to their family and bloodline, so they all have unique designs on their clothing that show their family and status. Marina suggests that they are practically a family too, so they should also design matching cloaks and armbands for their party. Everyone likes the idea, and Yuke says that he will come up with something later. But then he begins to think of ways to make the matching accessories useful as well. Soon, they reach the Adventurers Guild, and while Yuke and Silk go to talk to the guild master, the rest of the girls decide to chill at the pub. Yuke and Silk meet the ugly old hag Maniela, who is the guild master of this city, and then Silk begins asking her about the details of the mission. Maniela tells them that they don't need to map the dungeon, but they are free to do so if they want. She also says that all the items that the Clover Party finds during its exploration are theirs to keep, but the guild will check them first and put them on a list in case they are dangerous. While Silk is talking with the old woman, Yuke keeps staring at her. She tells him to stop trying to appraise her because that is rude, and Yuke immediately apologizes. Maniela tells him that it is natural for him to beware of someone he has met for the first time, but she assures him that they are going to be honest business partners for some time now. She then tells Yuke that she is not just an ordinary old woman, but a member of the legendary party who reached the final floor of the Infinite Darkness dungeon. Benwood, the guild master from the previous city, was a member of the party, and so was Saga, Yuke's uncle who inspired him to become an adventurer. Yuke is astonished to hear all this, and then Maniela tells him to stop being so nervous around her. She wishes him all the best for the mission, and then gives him a map to the inn where she has arranged for his party to stay. Once they leave the guild, both Yuke and Silk try to relax because being with the old hag really exhausted them. They decide to check out the hotel she has arranged for them after picking up the rest of their party members from the inn, but when they reach there, they find them in a fight with a group from Salmuteria. The people from Salmuteria speak a different language, but they are obviously pissed at Marina and others, who hold their ground and tell them to get lost. While the rest of the customers are waiting for a fight to break out, Yuke arrives there and immediately rushes ahead to solve the matter. Marina tells him that these bastards were trying to force them to pour their drinks, and then some. Yuke realizes that they were trying to aggressively pick his girls up, and he tells the men that they should stay away from his friends. However, his Salmuterian is not up to the mark, and he ends up telling the drunk men that all the women in his party are his wives, and he makes love to them every night. The men are taken aback by this and leave immediately, and only Rain really understands what Yuke just said. Once the fight seems to be over, the crowd disperses, but Rain and Neen are still furious. After that, Yuke leads the girls to the place they will be staying, and on the way, he explains that Salmuteria is the worst nightmare of all feminists because women are treated as property there. That is why the drunk men tried to force themselves on Marina and others, but they also have strict laws that can backfire on them if they try to steal another person's woman. Yuke explains that when he said that they were his companions, the men must have understood his point and left to avoid conflict. Marina, the submissive gets excited on thinking that Yuke called her his property, but he tells her that it is not what he meant. She tells him to quickly make matching cloaks for the party so that everyone knows they belong to him. Just then, Rain also tells Yuke that his Salmuterian was not correct, but instead of explaining what he really said, she begins to giggle uncontrollably. Soon, they reach their hotel, and the elf manager turns out to be a big fan of the Clover Party. She tells them that all their expenses will be covered by the guild, so they can order anything they want. Also, the entire hotel is reserved for them as long as they are going to stay here, and the manager tells them to pick any room on the second floor. Yuke and others thank her for her hospitality, and the manager decides to show them her hotel's speciality before they go to their rooms. She leads them to a hot spring in the backyard, and only Neen has seen one before. She eagerly tells her friends about how hot springs work and invites them to take a dip with her before having dinner. The next day, Yuke and Silk hold a meeting to explain their strategy for the upcoming mission. They say that they will follow the same pattern they used during the Infinite Darkness dungeon mission and livestream everything. Their goal is to fully explore the dungeon till the 5th floor, after which it will be open to the public. Silk explains that they only know that the 1st floor of the dungeon is partially underwater, and they can find a lot of water and bug-type monsters there. Moreover, they need to be fast while exploring the dungeon, because there are 2 other parties who will be sent on the same mission as them. Yuk tells the girls that they don't need to take part in this exploration race because the other 2 parties are more experienced than them, and if they try to compete, they might get injured. After explaining this, Yuk says that on the first day, they will aim to reach the 2nd floor and then cover the entire 1st floor to get a good idea of what the deeper floors are like. He then tells Neen that her airflow artifact might not be able to help her find the way out in the dungeon because of all the water, so she should come up with another way to find the proper way. After that, Silk tells everyone to finish their preparations by the end of the day because they will be heading to the dungeon first thing in the morning. The next day, they head to the dungeon's location, and Manuela is there to greet them at the observation center set up by the royal scholars. Marina asks her the name of the dungeon, and Manuela says that it has not been named yet because they don't know what is inside. She tries to encourage Marina by saying that her party might be the one to name the dungeon, and everyone gets excited on hearing this. With that, they go to the entrance of the dungeon, and Yuk starts live streaming to let the world know that Clover is going to explore a new dungeon today. The party enters the dungeon, and while Yuk and the girls are chatting excitedly about their expectations from the new dungeon, Neen finishes scouting the way ahead. Yuk asks her if she finds anything special, and the cat girl tells him that she saw something that she doesn't recognize or even understand. Everyone follows her, and Neen shows them the strange floating chains around the corner using a mirror. Even Yuk has not seen anything like it, but he suspects it to be a monster, so he tells the girls that they are going to attack it. He enchants their physical abilities before rushing at the chain monster, who begins attacking them as soon as they come in his range. Yuk uses his debuffs to slow it down, giving Marina and Neen the chance to attack it up close, but they don't do any damage at all. The monster suddenly grabs rocks and starts yeeting them at the party, so Yuk hits it with another round of debuffs. The monster attacks him in response, but Rain stops it using a thunderbolt. Just as the monster is pushed back by her attack, Marina leaps at it, unleashing her ultimate move to slash the chains and the core of the monster in half. She is really exhausted after this fight, and Yuk decides to analyze the enemy they just fought before moving ahead. Neither Rain nor Silk have a clear idea, but they tell him that the monster was like a magic creature, but it also had dark and corrupted energy like zombies. Yuk decides that it is best to let the royal scholars handle the decoding process, and he begins picking up the pieces of the monster. Rain suddenly notices a shiny ring in the rubble, and Yuk picks it up. He tries to appraise it, but doesn't find anything helpful information about it, so he leaves it for the scholars as well. After that, Neen decides to scout the region ahead quickly, and Yuk begins to worry that this dungeon might be really difficult if they faced such a strong monster right off the bat. Marina has some input about the monster, and she claims that it felt like a human. She explains that her samurai job gives her an idea about what she is killing, and Rain agrees with her because even after they killed the monster, it dropped no magic stone. While everyone is wondering what the monster really was, Neen returns after finding the staircase to the 2nd floor. However, she shocks everyone by revealing that the stairs go up instead of down like they do in normal dungeons. Yuk is curious, but then Neen says that she found another weird thing ahead. She leads the group to a small study area that seems oddly out of place. Yuk finds a book in a drawer, and after Rain confirms that it is not cursed, he opens it, only to find that he can't read the language. He decides that they should go to the stairs and rest there before planning their next step. But as he sees the bright lights in the safe zone, he is suddenly reminded of Simon's brutal fate. The PTSD from the memory starts hurting Yuk intensely, and he cuts the live stream as he tells the girls that they should rest now. They are worried about him, and Rain puts her robe over his head to protect him from the lights before telling him to take a nap. Yuk takes up on her offer, and after sleeping on her lap for a while, he wakes up refreshed. He then tells his worried friends about how the lights reminded him of the sky on the day he fought Simon, which triggered his PTSD. The girls suddenly cling to him, offering to be his unpaid therapists, but Yuk tells them that he is fine now. After dealing with his trauma, he asks them if they should explore the 1st floor some more or go to the 2nd floor, and the girls choose the second option. Yuk believes in democracy, so he decides to go with the majority. But before doing anything else, he tells them that it is lunchtime. While he starts cooking, Marina brings out another video recording drone so that they can live stream their dungeon cooking videos on another channel for maximum profit. After the lunch break, the party heads to the second floor. To their shock, the second floor is in the form of a well-maintained city that gives Yuk the flashbacks from the Infinite Darkness dungeon. He realizes that something really strange is happening here, and he tells the girls that they need to head back, when suddenly, he hears a voice telling him that he is right. Everyone gets into position to fight, and then an old wizard suddenly appears in front of them out of nowhere. He introduces himself as Loj, a poor old man who is left behind in this broken world. Yuk asks him why is he in this dungeon, and Loj is amused to learn that this place is a dungeon in their reality. He tells Yuk and the girls that this city was once called the City of Joy, but now things have changed a lot. Everyone is confused by the senseless statements of the old man, and the girls ask him if he is the only one in the city now. Loj tells them that the king and all the people in the city are here too, but he cannot explain the details of the situation to them in a way they will understand. He then starts to disappear into black smoke, but tells Yuk that they will meet again, calling him by his full legal name. Yuk panics because he never told the old man his name, and as he feels Persephone's curse activating, he gets even more paranoid. He tells the girls that they need to dash now, but then Marina points towards an unconscious girl lying in front of them. Soon after that, Yuk and his party come out of the dungeon, and he goes to the old hag and the royal scholars to discuss the strange things they saw. He is shocked to find that the old guy Loj didn't show up in the live stream, and the scholar thinks that Yuk and his party were hallucinating. The scholar says that they are still studying the things they brought back from the dungeon, and then Maniela decides to take Yuk for a walk. She tells him that the all-girls party that was exploring the dungeon has quit because half of their members fell sick just after entering it. She then asks Yuk what he really thinks about the dungeon, and he clearly says that it felt like another world. Maniela seems to agree with him, and she tells Yuk to trust his intuition because they might lead him to the correct answer. She then asks about the girl they found in the dungeon, and Yuk replies that she is still sleeping. After Maniela leaves, Yuk starts thinking about the dungeon, when suddenly, he sees a letter flying into their tent. He goes inside to find Rain in a gloomy mood because she got a letter from her grandfather, Count Crowder. She tells everyone that she is the illegitimate daughter of a noble family, and her mother was kicked out of the house as soon as she got pregnant. After her mother's death, she joined the Magic Academy somehow and became an adventurer. But now her grandfather, who never even acknowledged her existence, has sent a letter calling her back. As Rain starts crying, Yuk reads the letter to learn that Count Crowder has fixed Rain's marriage with the second prince of Salmuteria. He still calls her a bastard and tells her to be grateful that she is getting a chance to serve the family, and everyone gets furious on reading that. Rain is really devastated and doesn't know what to do, but Marina tells her that there is a simple solution to the problem, which is ignoring it entirely. She points out that Rain's name is not even written on the letter, so they will pretend that it was not meant for her. And though it sounds really dumb, Yuk is on board with that idea. He burns the letter, saying that now there is no proof that they even got it, and the relieved Rain hugs him and starts to cry. Yuk comforts her, saying that if the Count tries to reach her again, they will come up with an even better plan. He then asks Neen to contact the guild receptionist, who is also her mentor, and request her to collect all info on the Count and the second prince of Salmuteria. He also wants her to erase any proof that Rain is from the Count's family, and Neen agrees without even realizing that her mentor used to be a legend back in the day. After that, Yuk tells Marina and Silk to prepare for the next dungeon run, while he takes Rain outside to talk. He tells her that he has a reckless idea to save her from her family, but that involves marriage. Rain blushes as Yuk explains that if she marries him, she becomes his property according to the rules of Salmuteria, and then no one from that country can take her away from him. Rain has no doubts or hesitation about the plan, and she agrees to be Yuk's wife even if it is just an act. The next morning, Yuk and Zack, the leader of the second party, meet with Maniela, who tells them that they are going to continue the dungeon exploration mission after all. Zack is really excited about it, and also quite hostile against Yuk as he tells him that his party is going to explore the dungeon first. After the weirdo leaves, Maniela tells Yuk that his marriage with Rain has been approved, and she is pretty confident that the marriage won't stay a fake one for long. After that, Yuk and his girls head to the dungeon once again to explore the city on the second floor. Neen goes ahead to scout it as usual, and she immediately comes back running to tell everyone about a giant cocoon in the city square that looks creepy and dangerous. There is one cocoon on each pillar, and Rain senses a dark and corrupted mana being released from them, which is similar to the chain monster. Neen decides to scout the cocoons, but as she goes near them, she gets hypnotized by the cocoon's eye. Immediately after that, a mouth appears in front of the cocoon's belly, and it lunges towards Neen to swallow her whole. Luckily, Yuk saves her from becoming monster food, and once Neen is at a safe distance from the cocoons, all of them go back to sleep mode. Neen also returns to her senses, and Yuk realizes that they need to fight the monsters with ranged attacks. Marina eagerly pulls out her crossbow for that, and Yuk tells Silk to do what she does best. He asks Rain to use ice magic because if the cocoons are really some sort of bug, temperature changes will hurt them. After that, he buffs everyone with his support spells and then runs towards the pillars. The cocoon monsters try to hypnotize him with their eyes, but Yuk uses a flashbang spell to blind them, and then uses a more powerful blindness spell to keep their eyes shut. Marina and Silk immediately fire their arrows, defeating 3 of the 4 monsters. But when Rain shoots her ice magic at the last one, it proves ineffective. Marina decides to steal her kill and charges at the monster with her ultimate move, with Neen and Yuk supporting her to finish the monster. The monsters drop rings instead of magic stones, and Yuk collects them all. He then notices that Marina has been standing silently in a corner ever since defeating the last monster, and he asks her if everything is alright. She is about to tell him the truth, but then sees the camera drone, so she tells him that she needs some time to settle down. Yuk realizes what she wants, so he suggests that they rest in a nearby building and cuts off the livestream. While the group has a tea party, Marina tells them that when she cut down the cocoon monster, she felt like she was cutting a human. However, that is not the surprising part. She says that the pillar she cut down along with the monster felt like a human too, but she couldn't be certain even though she should be because of her samurai job class. Everyone is stunned to hear this, and Yuk suggests her to try cutting something in the room, but Marina says that she has already tried that, but the results were still not clear. She feels depressed and helpless, but then Silk says that she also feels something is very wrong with this place because the spirits are not communicating properly with her. She says that it somehow feels like the land of the dead that Persephone rules, and Rain agrees, saying that the mana here is not normal. Yuk agrees with all of them, and he says that they should go to the rooftop to get a better view of the city before doing anything else. Once they see the full expanse of the city from the roof, Yuk says that they will aim to enter the castle at the center of the city today, and once they explore it, they will call it a day. With that, they start walking towards the castle, but the silence of the city gives them the chills. They wonder if no one really lives here, which reminds them of the mysterious old man named Loj. While Yuk thinks he really might have been a hallucination, Rain disagrees with him because she has the sanity ring he gave her that makes her resistant to any mental effects. Everyone believes her, and they think that since Loj was real and still didn't appear on the livestream, he must be interfering with their drone cam. Suddenly, they spot Loj at the gate of the castle, and they immediately reach him, asking what is wrong with this city. Loj tells them that this city is completely fine, and the people here are saved so well that they don't need to be saved from anything ever again. Yuk asks him if the monsters they fought earlier were humans, and instead of giving him a clear answer, Loj starts a philosophical lecture on what actually is a human. Realizing that he won't answer this question, Rain asks him about the golden rings. Loj tells her that they are called the One Gold, and Rain asks what is he compiling with them. No one else understands this wizard mumbo-jumbo, but Loj warns Rain that the knowledge she is seeking will traumatize her. He tells her that she already knows what the purpose of the rings is, and then vanishes, telling Yuk and his party that they will meet again. Yuk asks him if he will tell them the truth the next time, and Loj tells him that the truth will find them in its due time. Everyone is even more confused now, but then the gates to the castle open, and they decide to explore it quickly and then head out. Later, Yuk analyzes the recorded clip and the castle's layout with the supervisor of royal scholars and Maniela. They now believe that Loj is not a hallucination, and Maniela compliments Yuk on his good work. Even the royal scholar praises him, and Yuk is taken aback by this because the man in front of him is Viscount Bodman, a renowned scholar and one of Yuk's favorite authors on dungeons. Bodman then presents the report on the gold rings and says that they were derived from humans. Yuk tells him that they already had a hunch about this because of Marina. Manuela says that if the monsters inside the dungeon are really humans, then things get tricky, because they will need to restrict the adventurers who can enter the dungeon. Yuke then tells them that Marina felt that even the pillars in the dungeon were humans, and this shocks both Manuela and Bodman. Yuke says that he brought some samples from the pillar and other places, and Manuela immediately calls an office worker and asks about the appraisal status of those samples. The man tells her that the appraisal will take one more day, but she tells him to spank the chief appraiser and tell him to get it done by the end of the day. After that, Bodman tells Yuke that he has already received a request from Rain, and his men have started producing an artifact like she requested. He then begins talking about the all-girls party that entered the dungeon but didn't make any progress because their members fell sick. He explains that the people who watched their live streams also suffered similar symptoms from mild fever to severe violent outbursts. He thinks that there is something wrong with the stream, and Yuke immediately thinks about Loge calling the second floor of the dungeon, the city tainted by twilight. He is sure that the golden light of the city is the reason behind all the problems, but there is no way to prove that right now. Bodman then tells Yuke that the country will take its time to decide what to do with the dungeon, but his party is needed to stay in the city for the time being so that they can do a few more runs. Yuke agrees to do that and leaves the tent, only to find Min dashing towards him frantically. She informs him that the girl they found in the dungeon has woken up, and she suddenly went Super Saiyan. Yuke runs to his party's tent to see what is up, and he is astonished when he sees the girl floating in the sky while radiating a pure golden light. No one has any idea what is happening, but then the girl suddenly calls Yuke by his full legal name, saying that she was waiting for him. She says that she was once called the Golden Priestess, but there is no time to talk about that. She tells Yuke that his world is in serious danger of facing an event called the culling, which means the destruction of most of the life on this planet. Yuke doesn't understand what she means, so the Golden Priestess explains that just like the city in the dungeon, soon this world will also be engulfed by the golden twilight and become lifeless just like it. However, because Yuke and his party have already crossed the border between the worlds once in the Infinite Darkness dungeon, they are partially resistant to twilight. The priestess tells him that if they don't go too deep inside the twilight zone, they will not be consumed. She then tells them to seek out Loge because he knows everything, but the girls reply that they have already met the old man who refuses to answer their questions. The priestess tells them that they need to force him to tell them the truth because he is the only normal being in the distorted world. Rain asks the priestess why she is telling them all this, and she replies that the tragedy started because of their fault. It was their king who got too greedy and wanted a golden eternity for his city, creating the destructive phenomenon known as the Twilight. She throws in a bunch of heavy words in the conversation like the fruit of world tree, the ultimate treasure, and some more, but no one understands what she means. In the end, the priestess asks Yuke to stop the Golden King and destroy his treasure because that is the only way to save his world from certain doom. With that, the golden glow leaves her, and she suddenly turns into a normal human named Rune. Her personality completely changes as a result, and she tells Yuke that the woman who just spoke to him was not her, but she can sometimes access her body to communicate with others. Yuke realizes that the issue is more serious than he thought, and he decides to inform the higher-ups about it immediately. 1 week later, Yuke is summoned by the director of the Royal Academy, who came to the research center after reading Bodman's report. Yuke is nervous in front of him, but the director tells him to be at ease because they have something very important to discuss. Yuke starts the conversation by asking him about the culling, and the director shows him some murals that are locked deep within the Royal Treasure Hall. In the mural, a hero fights a powerful monster to save the world, but Yuke can't understand anything else because he can't read the ancient language in the mural. The director then explains that there are many parallel worlds just like their own, and sometimes they collide. When that happens, one of the worlds is destroyed, and this is called the culling. Usually, it is random, but this time, they have proof that the person named Golden King tried colliding his world with this one on purpose. The director says that they don't have any time to think about the reasons behind it, because they need to take emergency measures to protect their world. He tells Yuke that he is the only one who can do it, because according to the murals, whenever a world faces the danger of culling, a hero is chosen to save it. The director says that since Yuke found everything about the Golden City and the culling, he is their hero, and it is his duty to save the world. Yuke panics on hearing this and tells the director to cut him some slack because he is not qualified for the job. The director tells him that someone has to take on this responsibility and he is the only one who is fit for it. He then threatens Yuke that he will raise one of his girls to a rank and make them the hero if he refuses. Yuke becomes more cooperative on hearing this, and then the director compares him to his uncle Saga, saying that both of them have great talent, but Yuke lacks confidence. The director once again asks Yuke to become the hero, especially because the priestess from the other world chose him. Yuke feels unsure about what to do now, so he asks the director for some time to think about it and consult his party members. The director agrees to his request, but he is confident that Yuke will surely realize that he is the only one who can save this world. Soon, Yuke returns to his hotel and tells Rain about his conversation with the director before anyone else. She is impressed by the idea of him becoming the hero, but she says that she will support him even if he wants to refuse. However, she also believes that he is the only one fit for the role. She reminds him how the Golden Priestess possessed Rune to talk to him. Rain says that the priestess seemed to be waiting for him, which means he is special. Yuke sighs, saying that he doesn't mind exploring the dungeon a bit more, but saving the world is too much. Rain suddenly starts caressing him as she tells him that he just needs to keep doing what he has done till now because everyone in the Clover Party will support him, and together, they can do anything. Yuke feels better after hearing all that, and then Rain sits on his lap and hugs him, telling him not to worry about anything because they are stronger than he thinks. A few days after that, Yuke attends a meeting with the leaders of the parties that are going to explore the dungeon now. Apart from the guy named Zack, there are 2 more people who lead a rank parties, and the director gives them the details about their mission. He informs them that this time, the viewership of their live streams will be restricted, and only the royal scholars will see it to minimize the damage from the golden light of the twilight. After that, Zack suddenly gets angry because Team Clover is still participating in the dungeon raid even though it has become more dangerous. He complains to the director to get them removed, but no one pays any attention to his rumbling. The other adventurer named Lucent who helped Yuke in the past tells Zack to stop whining because Yuke's party has shown their abilities while investigating Infinite Darkness Dungeon. Even the girl leading the last party says that ranks don't matter in situations like these and only results do, and Zack has nothing to say after that. All the adventurers leave the room one by one after that, but Yuke stays behind. The director tells Yuke that it was a good idea to keep the hero business a secret from others because Zack would have reacted even more explosively on hearing it. The scholar Bodman adds that Rain had asked them to prepare special magic devices and they are almost ready as well. After that, Yuke returns to his tent and puts together all the maps that the different parties have drawn till now. None of them give him any idea how to get inside the castle in the Golden City, but Rain suggests that they take Rune with them. She believes that since Rune is from the Golden City, the castle gates may open for her. Yuke thinks that the idea is not bad, but he still has some doubts about taking Rune back to the dangerous place. Just then, Lucent comes to the tent to discuss the strategy for the next mission with Yuke. Yuke informs him about Rain's plan to take Rune inside the castle, and Lucent is completely on board with that. He even offers to guard Rune during the mission, and though Yuke is still not sure, he realizes that taking the girl with them is their best bet. The next day, the 4 parties enter the dungeon with Lucent's party joining Clover. They come to the castle gate and find Loge waiting for them there. The old man welcomes Rune, asking her about the outside world, but she doesn't remember him. Loge says that it is better that she forgets everything about this place, but then Yuke reveals that the priestess talked to him. Loge realizes that the priestess chose Yuke, but he still refuses to tell him anything. However, he opens the door to the castle, telling Yuke that since Rune is with him, he will find the answers he wants. Lucent suspects that this might be a trap, so he leaves half his party members outside to call for backup if anything goes wrong. He then joins Yuke's party as they enter the castle. Loge leads them to the royal library, saying that he is not much of a talker, but they might find the answers here. The wizard of Lucent's party realizes what is actually going on with the old man and tells Yuke that Loge actually wants to talk about something, but he is either cursed or he has too much mana. That means that speaking certain things out loud can create great problems for him and everyone else, so he is trying to communicate through hints. Loge gets awkward on hearing this, but his gesture tells everyone the direction to look in. The old wizard asks Lucent to bring the red books on the shelf and then takes Rune along with him because she is the only one who can read the language. Rain senses a strange mana from a big brown book and the study table's drawer, and Silk also feels that the spirits in the library are connected to people's memories. She decides to connect with the spirits, and suddenly a book possessed by a spirit comes flying towards her. Silk eagerly starts asking the book spirit the things they want to learn, and on the other hand, the old wizard scans Rune's mind as she reads the ancient books. Meanwhile, Neen finds a key to open the big book that Rain noticed earlier, but Yuk is not sure about opening it. He asks Loj if the book is dangerous, but he doesn't give him a clear answer. However, when Yuk forces him to say that the book is not dangerous, it suddenly glows and a trap inside it is diffused. Yuk opens the book after that and finds that it contains many similar magic circles, but he can't make out their meaning. Suddenly, Silk comes there, claiming that she can help him with that. The book spirit in her hands has shrunk down quite a bit, and Silk says that it can help him understand what is written in the books. As Silk holds Yuk's hand and uses the power of the book spirit, they find themselves standing on top of the book. The book spirit turns into a white snake named Biblion, and tells Yuk that he cannot understand the true meaning of the book just by reading it. The spirit snake says that it will interpret the book correctly for him, and Yuk takes up the offer. The spirit snake uses its power to drown Yuk into the memories of the person who wrote the book. The author tells Yuk what the book is about, and when he returns from the memories, Yuk explains to the girls that this book is about creating a chain of spells that can create an extremely powerful result. The rest of the girls don't understand what he is talking about, but Rain and the old wizard from Lucen's party realize how powerful the spell is. Yuk asks the old wizard if he is finished with his task, and he replies that the red books contain the history of the Golden City. According to the books, the City of Joy was the capital of a rich and advanced kingdom, but one day, they had to face an event like the culling, so they tried to come up with a way to avoid that. Yuk adds that the magic spell mentioned in the book also aims to deal with the main source of the culling event, instead of just delaying it or evacuating people. The more Yuk talks about the spell in the book, he starts feeling a sharp headache. He tells everyone that they should head out now, and just then, the all-girls party also arrives there. Yuk and Lucent tell them that they are going to retreat now, but then they learn that Zack and his party went deeper into the castle. Yuk decides to leave them alone because they can't stay in this dangerous place any longer, and the leader of the girls' party says that she will stay on guard till Zack returns. With that, Yuk and his girls leave the castle, but he keeps thinking about the magic in the book and how it is connected to the fate of the Golden City. Soon after that, Yuk and others go back to the control room and tell the higher-ups about their discoveries. They explain that the dungeon is actually a real city from a parallel world, whose king wanted to save it from twilight, so he used a special magic to take it across dimensions. However, his magic was imperfect, so he ended up turning all the people in the city into objects. He then puts a ring he got from the monsters on the special device that the scholars made on Rain's request. As Rain activates the device using her magic, it projects a vision of the Golden City. The director asks if the rings found from the monsters are able to display messages in the same way their broadcasting drones work, but Rain denies that theory. Yuk explains that initially, he had the same theory too, but now he has realized that the rings store the information about the people themselves. He explains that King Vorden of the Golden City found that he could not carry humans to another dimension, even with his special magic, so he came up with the golden rings that could turn them into something other than humans. The old wizard says that this crazy idea proves that the king was already under the effect of twilight, and then presents the books he found in the library. He says that King Vorden possessed a special treasure called the One Gold, but they don't exactly know what it could do. Yuk recalls that the Golden Priestess told him that the One Gold was the fruit of the World Tree that could grant any wishes, but it was also something humans were forbidden from even touching. He believes that King Vorden used the One Gold to create the rings and gave them to his people. After that, he tried traveling through the dimensions, but his magic was imperfect, and the people of his city were corrupted and turned into monsters. Yuk says that according to the Golden Priestess, the only way of stopping this tragedy is by defeating the king and destroying the One Gold. The director asks him if he can do it, and Yuk replies that he has to do it at all costs. After that, Yuk and Rain head back to their hotel, when suddenly, a carriage stops in front of them and an ugly balding man comes out of it. He tells Rain that he was looking for her, but she doesn't even know who this creep is. He introduces himself as her Uncle Bran, saying that he is here on the behalf of the head of the Crowder family to take her back with him. Rain gets nervous on hearing this, but Yuk hides her behind him and then tells the man that he has got the wrong person. Bran knows Yuk's identity too, and he tells him to not stand in his way because Rain should go back to her rightful family. Yuk refuses, saying that Rain has no family, and Bran sends his guards to take her away by force. Yuk uses snare and sleep spells on the two guards, knocking them out. Bran gets scared, but he still acts arrogantly, telling Yuk to get aside because Rain's marriage has been fixed to the Prince of Salmuteria. He even gets ready to hit him, but then Yuk asks him for proof that Rain is actually the daughter of the Crowder family. Bran falls silent on hearing this, and Yuk accuses him of trying to kidnap a random girl and then marry her to another country's royalty by pretending that she is their daughter. Bran tells him that even if the girl is not a member of their family, she is going to become a queen, and their family will also benefit greatly from it. He orders Rain to come back to her father, but she activates a magic spell as she tells him that she doesn't want to. She shoots a tiny lightning bolt just above Bran's head, burning what little hair he had on the top of his head and scaring him shitless. He immediately runs away after that, and Rain tells Yuk that they should head home before anyone else comes after them. Meanwhile, Bran runs straight to the second prince of Salmuteria, who asks him where is the bride he ordered. Bran nervously tells him that it will take some time because Rain has got a bad temper after becoming an adventurer. He says that she even shot a lightning bolt at him, and this shocks Prince Masmoda because women can't even leave the house without permission in his country. Anyway, he decides to give Bran some more time because he needs Rain for a special reason. He also tells him to bring all the girls she hangs out with so that she has some friends in his harem. Bran says that it will be difficult, but Masmoda increases the reward by 5 times, and the ugly bastard immediately sets out to get all the girls from Clover for his client. Unaware of this, Yuk and his girls keep forming strategies for their dungeon raid and fooling around in the hot springs. A few days later, it is time for the final mission to destroy the One Gold. But while Yuk and others are discussing the details with the old hag, they receive news that Zack's party kidnapped Rune and took her into the dungeon with them. Everyone panics on hearing this, but Yuk tells them to stay calm because they can solve this problem. He assembles the remaining 2 parties and tells them that they must catch up to Zack's party quickly, and then they can head to the deepest parts of the castle to destroy the One Gold. They rush inside the dungeon with that, but as they enter the 2nd floor, they find a huge number of cocoon monsters waiting for them. The leader of the girls' party tells Yuk that they will handle the monsters and he should go ahead and rescue Rune. Yuk objects, but Lucent tells him that he is their main character in this mission, and he must keep moving ahead to do the most important things while they just back him up. Following his advice, Yuk rushes ahead with Lucent's party while the girls fight the monsters. However, just as they reach the castle gate, they find a horde of monster knights waiting inside. Lucent tells Yuk that his party will handle them and he should go inside to deal with the One Gold. The wizards from Lucent's party begin attacking the monsters to attract their attention, and using this chance, Yuk and his girls slip past them. They reach inside the castle soon, and Neen finds the route that Zack took. She says that he is heading straight to the throne room, which is exactly where Yuk believes the One Gold is. As they rush towards the throne room, Yuk feels someone coming and immediately alerts his party. However, it turns out to be Loj. Yuk tells Loj that he learned a lot from the library, including details about him. Turns out that Loj is the son of King Vorden, and Rune is his niece and the king's granddaughter. Loj feels no need to hide things from Yuk now, and he says that his father made a mistake, and Rune is the key to make things right. He wishes Yuk the best of luck and then vanishes, leaving a gold ring behind. Yuk's party soon reaches the throne room's door and hears Zack laughing inside. Yuk tells them to get ready to fight, and Silk calls out the book spirit to assist her. With that, they charge inside the room and find Zack and his friends enjoying the loot they found in the royal chamber. They tell Yuk that he is too late because their party conquered the dungeon first. Yuk doesn't care about that and asks where is Rune, but then Marina tells him to look at the end of the room. Yuk is shocked as he sees King Vorden on the throne, and next to him, Rune is lying unconscious on the floor. He gets furious, thinking that Rune is hurt, but Zack tells him to stop being sentimental because she was just a tool to conquer this dungeon. He tells Yuk that he hated his party from the beginning because they are outsiders who don't even belong to this region. However, he also hates Yuk specifically because he is always surrounded by beautiful girls. All of Yuk's girls call Zack a jealous incel and tell him to get a life, which makes him even more angry, and he tells King Vorden to give them more power so they can beat the intruders in his palace. The king listens to him and activates the power of the One Gold, freaking Yuk out as he can't predict what is going to happen next. The king uses the power of the 1 gold and shares it with Zack's party using the golden rings. Yuk panics on seeing them wear the ring and asks if they are stupid to use something so dangerous. Zack mocks him, saying that he is just saying this because he realizes there is no way to win now. He says that the king taught them how to use the rings, and now they can feel the power surging inside them. Yuk feels Persephone's curse mark activating, as he realizes that Zack and his team are using the magic that grants wishes. He asks them if they don't know how dangerous that spell is, but Zack replies that he doesn't care. He orders his team to attack Yuk and his girls, and they immediately charge ahead. However, Yuk's party is also ready to fight. Silk shoots the healer in the knee, bringing him down, and then Neen uses her speed to knock down the wizard. Rain knocks down the thief using a basic spell, and Yuk paralyzes the tank. Zack is shocked to see his friends lose despite powering up, when suddenly, Marina breaks his sword, forcing him to run away. However, he suddenly feels a sharp pain in his body and falls to the ground. The power of the ring starts consuming him, and he begins turning into a monster. All his party members also get affected by the power of the rings and transform into monsters, and Yuk calls the girls back to rework their strategy. He tells them to be careful because their enemies are stronger and more unpredictable now. He then buffs them with his support spells, but that is not enough this time. Zack attacks Marina and pushes her back, but she immediately returns to fight him. On the other side, the fat monster chases after Silk like a total creep, and when her lightning arrows have no effect on it, she freaks out and keeps running. Rain fights against the priest, and even though she is able to damage him with her spells, he regenerates instantly. Meanwhile, Neen gets overwhelmed by the thief of the party, but luckily, Lucent arrives there just in time to protect her. He asks her what the update is, and she tells him about Zack's party using the rings to become monsters. Just then, Lucent's teammates as well as the other party arrive in the room, and he tells them that their job is to hold back the monsters while Yuk rescues Rune and stops the king. The two parties team up to take down the monsters, and Yuk tells his girls that they should rush to help Rune now. They run towards the throne, but King Vorden comes forward to face them. Marina dashes towards him as Yuk enchants her sword. She tries attacking the king with her full strength, but he easily blocks her attack and then pushes her back before hitting her with a powerful magic beam point blank. Marina somehow avoids taking any damage from the attack and charges at the king again. Yuk stacks all the debuffs he can at the king, slowing him down, and Marina manages to push him back. However, using such a great amount of spells puts a lot of stress on Yuk, and he starts bleeding. He tells Marina to keep attacking because he can't keep the king down for long. Suddenly, the snake spirit warns Silk about the king's next attack. She yells at Marina to dodge, but it is too late. The king stabs the ground with his spear, releasing a great burst of energy. Everyone runs away, but Marina gets caught in the attack's range. Silk and Neen keep the king busy with rapid attacks, while Marina gathers her strength back. Neen uses a fire-breathing technique as a smokescreen, and when the king clears the green fumes, he finds Marina dashing towards him. She uses her ultimate move to cut through his weapon and injure him, and Rain declares that she will deal the finishing blow. She begins chanting a tier 7 spell, and Yuk tells the rest of the girls to come back before the spell is activated. They rush to his side just as Rain unleashes her magic and engulfs the king's body in flames. Yuk uses a water spell to prevent the flames from reaching them, and Rain also holds back her power so that she doesn't accidentally burn her own party. Silk summons a water spirit to assist Yuk, who lowers down the water wall and uses a scroll to increase everyone's flame resistance. He then tells Rain that she should stop controlling her power, and she collapses right as she lets the spell work at its full strength. The flames around the king burn even brighter, and Yuk shields all his girls using his magic robe for a few seconds before the flames die down. He then turns around and finds that the king is still clinging on to life, but not for long. As he tries to take a step forward, the king turns into ash, and his ring falls on the ground. Rain is feeling really weak and exhausted now, so Yuk uses his special spell to recharge her mana and then also gives her some mana potions. He then decides to destroy the 1 gold, but Rune tells him to look at the ground. The king's ashes are gathering around the ring, and Yuk realizes that the 1 gold is trying to revive him. He quickly moves towards the ring and uses Persephone's power to break the ring, but that gives him a serious migraine. In the meantime, the remaining 2 parties have also finished dealing with the monsters, and they come upstairs to catch up with Yuk. They look at the 1 gold and say that once they destroy it, all will be over, but Yuk tells them that he has a feeling that they are missing something. The wizard of Lucen's party says that they should let Yuke handle the 1 gold because only a superior red mage like him can destroy it. Lucen says that if they can't help, they should not stay here and bother Yuke either, and the other party's leader agrees with him. She asks Rune to come with them because she must be tired, but she refuses, saying that she will stay back to help Yuke. She says that she is the Golden Priestess, so she can touch the 1 gold without getting hurt, and Yuke can also do that. However, the rest of them will be exposed to the effects of the Twilight if they are present during the process, and they will lose their mind. Yuke agrees with her and says that even if things go wrong here, it will be for the best to reduce the number of victims. His girls take offense on hearing this, as they believe that Yuke is trying to sacrifice himself. While he tries to calm them down, Rain asks Rune if she is sure that they can't do anything to help. Rune tells her that Yuke is special so no one else can help him, and Rain realizes that is true. She suddenly hugs Yuke tightly,